Hello, this is Gwydion with RPG Frequencies, and today I'm going to be beginning a playthrough of Wander the Shadowed Realm by Cody Barr of Sleepy Sasquatch Games. I previously recorded a walkthrough of the PDF that I will link here in the event you'd like to take a look at the game in a little more detail before you jump into watching a playthrough. The reason for recording this now, it's been on my list for some time, but this PDF is part of a solo but not alone bundle on itch.io, itch.io, which is currently $10, but it only runs for 2 more days as of the recording of this video. So I would still pay the full price of this PDF, which is $10, because this game really spoke to me. It's in a relatively small package, total of I believe about 50 pages, but there's a lot of nuance to this solo game that is not apparent by if you just kind of take a quick flip through the rule book. There's a lot of things you can miss. There's not only is there standard melee and ranged combat, but there's also magic system, there's a companion system, and done in a way that's relatively simple, but it adds a little more variability and crunch to the game. And it even has a legacy system where if you retire your adventure, either you've just decided to move on or your adventure has perished, there's a mechanic to add your your wanderer who has deceased as part of the world, and you might encounter that wanderer again. So I find that pretty cool. I haven't seen that too often. So I will be using a few things. I'll be using obviously the core rulebook, which you'll see on the screen right now, the cover page. I'll be using the character sheet that came with the game when I purchased it. I did make it form fillable. I don't recall if I added any fields to it, but I'll try to call those out if I did. And finally, I'll be using playingcards.io, and that is the table I'll be using that the author is letting me release for free. So if you do want to play virtually and you like the look of the layout, I'll have a link to the playingcards.io download. So if you want to download it and use the game for free yourself, you can. The sheet I created, or I guess the page I created for the Wanderer in playingcards.io has dice already built into it. But to make the stream a little more fun to watch, today I'm going to be using 3D dice to actually physically roll the dice across the screen. So, all right, enough of that. Let's dive into the character creation. So I'm going to keep the sheet up on the left, and we'll flip through the PDF on the right. Sorry, I'm having a little more coffee this morning. So let's get into character creation. So at the start, everyone has the same base stats. You have hit points, which are a maximum of 6 to start. And once you get to 0 hit points, you are defeated, and that triggers you obtaining a wound. Once you get 3 max wounds, you'll have to retire your character. So we got the wounds of 3, and that means max wounds, 3 max shadow. And there's a mechanic in here. If you draw a joker, so this game uses, in addition to dice, a basic 52 card deck with jokers included. If you draw a joker during like an event or an encounter, you will face a shadow test, which we might go through if that happens on the stream today. You get 3 spirit. I kind of like, again, to me, these are the nuances of just a relatively simple role playing solo game. But you have spirit, which will add +1 to roll, and you get 3 chances to do that. And you also have a fate, which is to re-roll any dice or draw a new card, but you'll have to take the new result. So kind of cool that you get a little bit, but not overpowered. Let's go into folk type. So folk type is going to be human, elf, dwarf, halfling, ogre, or ancient one. I'm not going to think too much about it. I had previously thought I would do an elf, and I'd already put in these base numbers here. So an elf, as you'll see on the right-hand side of my screen, starts with 2 combat skill, 2 magic, and 1 wits. The PDF itself, I think these will all be 0 when you get it, because I don't know which folk type you're going to start with. So let's keep going to the next page. So this just walks through what each stat is. I won't go through this too much detail, because we just kind of talked through that. Let's see. I don't see damage, which is interesting. I'll have to look at that. I might want to somehow be able to track that on screen. So I'll have to think about that. And maybe I'll just do a note for now because I don't see damage on the character sheet here. All right, so that's that. Let's go to character background. So in this case, all characters start with 3 rations. So let's just put into items, rations, 3. And I believe rations, yeah, it says right here. I might make a note there. Recover, cover D6 plus 1 HP. And I think you can use that anytime during combat. I think it says that somewhere. I'll try to look that up if I need. But I'm going to make this, I'm already thinking about this as being like an elven character with a bow. So I'm going to select a hunter, I think. See if there's anything else in here. Warden seems interesting, but I don't really like the walking staff. I know it's just flavor. Let's go with the hunter and the hunting bow. So my background is going to be hunter. And I think your reputation always starts at 0. I'm going to put that 0 for now. So my weapon is a hunting bow. And that allows me, let's just do these first, plus 4 HP. So my base HP is 10. My combat skill goes up by 1 to 3. And my wits goes up by 2. I like that, to 3. That's a decent start, I feel. All right, so that's that. So let's go back into my hunting bow as my weapon. And that does a D6 damage. So this actually, it says attack, but really it's damage. So we're going to say D6 damage. I don't think I automatically get a plus to damage. So we'll keep it at D6. And then our cloak, which is an accessory. Here's an accessory. I think you might only get one of those. Is I'll say cloak plus 1 wit. And I think I asked Cody about this. I think as long as I'm wearing that, and I think that's the trick, is you only get 1 accessory, I think, that you can wear. And that might say that somewhere in here, but let's just put it in here. Then I think that gives me plus 1 wits. So I'm going to put a modifier here of plus 1. Oh, good. I thought it was going to. Can I do a plus 1? There we go. Plus 1. So I'm going to say this is 4. I'm just going to have the modifier denote that I'm getting that because of my cloak, but I'll just put that at 4 so I don't forget. All right, I think we're close. We still have to do a name for the Wanderer. I'm not good at names, so I'm just going to pick one from here. I'm not going to. So let's look at the Elven column. And I'm just going to call, I like Elwyn. Elwyn. So we're just going to say Elwyn. All right, and I think, oh, see, my character isn't done. That was so quick. But let's go back, and this is further into the book. It's not, or into the PDF. So if I flip to the next page, it kind of looks like I'm done. And it says equipments, but, and I don't think you automatically start with armor or anything. You start with what's on your back, but it kind of appears you're done. But if you flip to the back, there's 2 more things that I want to go through. Let's go through magic, then we'll come back to companion. So anyone can perform magic, and the total number of spells that you can cast is limited to, see, let's highlight this. So it's limited to the magic stat total of the character plus 2. So my magic stat is 2. And I think it's just the character. So even if I add a companion, I think that's going to limit me. So I'm going to say down here, I'm going to say max 4. So it's my magic, so I can cast 4 spells total. And you can channel a spell. Let's not worry about that too much. I do know that if a spell fizzles and fails, it doesn't count against you. That says somewhere, yeah, here it is. Spell fizzles don't count towards the spell used, but it does take your action. So let's go back here. So you can choose up to your magic stat and spells before a quest. So I can choose 2. So let's just look at these briefly. I think, yeah, that's interesting. So this is the higher the DS8, I believe. Yeah, you have to get at or equal to or above the difficulty score in order to have the spell work and do its damage. These aren't super high, but I'd rather keep them kind of low. This is interesting. Enchant a weapon +2 in this combat. But I think you need to use it as your roll. Yeah, spell counts as an attack in combat. I don't think you can do it going into a combat. So I'd have to do it. And then, so I don't know, maybe use resist shadow +2 towards the next shadow test. That could be interesting. -2 DS on the enemy. I kind of like Cold Blast. So that would deal D4 plus M damage. So that's plus magic, I guess, plus your magic damage. So in my case, that'd be 6. You know what? I'm going to go straight up Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike, and that is DS8. And then I'll put a little, so D6 plus M damage. And M, I'm going to just put in here since my magic is 2. D6 +2. So let's do one other. Ooh, Clairvoyance. That's a high DS. You could recover at Fate. Recover 2 HP, renewing light. Kind of interesting. But I think rations allow you to do D6. I'm not going to worry. How about Bark Skin? Bark Skin. I'm just going to do it without the dash. Bark Skin, DS8. And that is +2 defense. This combat. All right. I don't know if those are the best, but so let's go back to companions. So I missed this the first time I played through as well. So in theory, this says you can recruit up to 3 companions before setting out on your journey. And I confirmed with Cody, there's nothing that says I can't recruit all 3. But I'm just going to, play this as, hey, I'm an adventurer just starting out. Let's just say that I can do 1. I didn't do any before, and you cannot hire the multiple types of the same companion. You do lose a companion if a wound is taken, and that's supposed to be random. So I think I would just do, in my case, since I'm only doing 1, I'd lose a companion if I take a wound. So it's kind of a cool way to have a companion, and you don't have to worry about their stats or kind of how do you control them. They basically are passive bonuses that you get. So in my case, like wits is important. So that's interesting. Wits, I've already got 4 wits though, which is pretty good. And that's going to come into play, I believe, when you're doing your events, I think. But I could do a Warden Wizard. Once per combat, a spell does +2 damage. And that's per combat. So my Lightning Strike could do D6 +4 damage. That could be interesting. Recover a Spirit. Hunter, ranged attack. Oh, I like that. Ranged attack, do +1. And I get +1 combat skill. Sold. That's kind of, I like that. I don't think, let's see, I think I can do that as a companion, even though I'm a hunter. I guess, would I be smarter to do, how about a healer? That would give me +1 to my magic. And I can recover D4 after a successful combat. I like that one. Maybe that would give me a balance. No, I like Hunter. I know it's, I don't know if it's cheating, but I'm just going to double up on Hunter. So I'm going to say Hunter +1 CS. And it's also going to say ranged attacks +1 damage. All right, so then what I'll do down here, since I have that in my total attacks, so I'm going to put the D6 and I'm going to put the +1. I don't think I get armor, but I want to go back and look at that again. I don't think I get to add anything, so I get that. Oh, let's make sure we add the magic. Or no, combat skill. So that's going to be a 4, and that's going to be a +1. And I'll have to remember that's for my companion, so I will lose that and pop down to a 3 if I lose my companion. So I think I'm almost done. Let me go back to make sure in my background. Yeah, so some of these I bet shows maybe you don't start with any armor at all. Yeah, I don't see any, so hopefully I can find some. Oh, here we go. Captain, you start with D6 armor. I think that'll come into play with combat. So let's jump in. I've already gone about 15 minutes, so let's jump into gameplay. Or we'll start with quests, sorry. So a character must have a quest before adventuring in the world. To find one, draw a card, compare the result to the quest table. So, and I think this is flavor. So I want to save this so I don't forget. Save as, I'm going to say this is Elwyn for now. Let's just do it in here. We'll say Elwyn stream character. I know you don't see that, but I'm doing this on my screen. There we go. All right. So I'm going to put this down for a second and pop open the table. There's the table. All right, so now what I need to do, let's go to the quest table. If I can find it. Oh, I think it's at the next page. Not in the back. There we go. So let's just draw a card. So I drew an 8. I'm just going to put it up here for now. And that is deliver a package to the one true heir for a hooded figure. So you can do more journaling, I think, with this if you'd like. I'm not a super big journaling guy, so I think I'm just going to kind of type that there, or I'll say deliver package to the one true heir, just so you can see that a little bit easier. I won't do the hooded figure. So, all right, so that's that. So we've done that, and then what we do is we're going to need to determine how many clues or tracks do I need to find in order to finish this quest. So it's kind of an abstract. You'll be encountering events and locations. You're going to be defeating enemies, and you'll be getting tracks or basically clues over time. And I'll have to roll right now a d6 to determine how many tracks do I need to find to deem this quest complete. So let's put this down. So I'm going to roll a d6. So give me a second. And let's just roll from, let's roll from 3D dice. I think that's a 4. What does it show? Yeah, it shows a 4 on my screen. Doesn't quite tell, can't quite tell on screen. But it looks like that's a 4. So let's do this. Let's go back to my character sheet. And I am going to track, here we go. I need 4 tracks. Or no, I rolled a 4. Let's see again what that means. All right, so I rolled a 4, which is 6 tracks. So I need 6 tracks. Okay, so let me turn that off again real quickly to make that a little bit more appealing. All right, so I'm almost ready to embark on my quest here and adventuring. So yeah, so I'll save my character sheet and I might put that down for a second. And what we're going to do, we're going to be using playingcards.io. But what we will do is draw 1 card for the event, 1 card for the location, place in order, and then you're going to complete the event first, location, the event, location, and then check for the tracks total. So events are things that happen along the way. So let's go ahead, and what I might do for the moment, just so this doesn't get jarring, is I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to hide the PDF so I can pop it up when I need to, but I want to be able to use the playingcards.io to show you. Okay, so we are going to pull a location and an event, so I'm going to discard this for now. I could have automated this more, but I just didn't feel like it was that important to automate. And I've already shuffled these, so let's put the event and location up. And I'm going to try to use my hard copy of the book and do this a little more rather than having to keep pop it up on stream. So let's see. Let's start with, looking at the events table, I think. Yeah, so let us draw the event, which is a 9 of hearts. And I'm looking at the table, and that is a patrol. Patrol. 1B evil. So I think what that means is I am kind of cruising down towards my first location, and I run into some patrol with an evil being. So I need to open the evil being table, and I think 1B, what does that mean? 1B. I think it just means draw one card for an evil being. Be evil means draw one card for an evil being. B is good. So I think I go to the evil being table. And because I have a red suit, there is, let me just show you really quickly. And I'll pop that up and I'll show that to you quickly. So let's just look for this and I'll show you what I'm reading. So this is an event. Once an event is identified, this tells you basically roll to determine what the difficulty is of that test. But in my case, I think first we have to defeat the creature. See if this says here, events are not optional. Okay, you have to do that. Even if you fail, you keep moving forward, which is nice. One event's identified. The DS of the event indicates the wits test needed. I think it tells you to defeat the encounter first. So I do think I have to do the encounter after, but the event after. Let's see. Some events have an encounter already prepared, which is found in the circle brackets of the event table. That's what I found. For example, Be Evil requires the player to draw a card for an evil being and resolve it before rolling for the DS of the event. So I do need to defeat the creature first. So let's go to Beings Evil and events table. Sorry. So what I rolled was the 9 of hearts, which is the patrol 1B evil. I added these hearts in and these little icons to the PDF so I could just see it easier. So I just added those icons myself. But then we go to the beings table, and I think because mine is a heart, 9 of hearts, I will roll on this table, or I will create an event. So I'm going to put that here. And what I'm going to do is flip this card. So that is a queen. So my queen is an ogre warrior. So that is let's get that set up. So that's a DS 10, hit points 7. So let me do this. I'm going to go over to combat. And that's an ogre warrior. I kind of created this little chart so I could put that up. DS 10, HP 7. So we'll put the HP at 7. Attack is a D. So I already have the D in there. So it's a D10. This is going to be hard. Or no, D8. Sorry, 8. Defense is D6. So that's what he's going to be rolling to mitigate damage. And morale is an 8. So I believe the morale test is, or he'll have to do a test when he is half of his HP. So I think that's half of his HP. I don't know if that is, let's just look real quick. It's rounded up. So in this case, it would be 3.5. So rounded up would be 4. So once he gets to 4 HP, then I'll have to roll a morale test. And if I roll above his morale test, which would be a DS 8. So if I roll above his morale test of DS 8, then he would flee. So, all right. So first round of combat, I could try to flee, and a character may attempt to flee combat by rolling 2d6 and adding wits. I think I'm going to at least try one round of combat. Let's see. I think I thought I already rolled my tracks. So now I realize I didn't mark the tracks. I think I rolled a 4 initially. I'm going to make those tracks a 6. So that's what I need to determine. Thought I'd put that up somewhere, but okay, so we're good. So now let's start combat, and I'm going to read the book myself a little bit, and if I need to pull it up for you, I can. And let's see, I'm pretty sure spells you have to do in combat. So So let's start. So you start by rolling initiative. You roll a 1d6. And on a 1 or a 2, the enemy catches you off guard and they get a free attack. The way attacks work in this game is I'll be rolling for my attack. So you just roll once. It's like a simultaneous thing. And either I win, and if I win, then I do damage, or I lose. And if I lose, then I basically miss and he does damage. I think on a tie, I'll have to look if there's a tie. I don't remember if you both do damage or not, but we'll have to take a peek at that. All right. So let's roll for initiative first. So I need a 3, 4, 5, or 6 is what I really want. So let's roll a d6. Okay, and roll a 3. So that means you meet the enemy head on. So basically, there's no surprise, but I get to attack, which is nice. So I want to get his HP down. See. So if I can get his HP down to 4, I might be able to get him to do a morale test and leave. I think they only do a morale test. I guess I could house rule that, but let's see. I wonder, this is such a big guy. I wonder if I should do my lightning. Let's look at that again real quick. So lightning, I would need a DS8. So I'd roll 2d6 and I'd do a plus 2 for my wits. So 2d6 plus 2. And I need to get a DS8 or above, and that would be do D6 plus 2 damage. My combat skill, but that's kind of the same as my bow, right? Because my bow does a D6 plus 1. So it's a little better than my bow, I guess, because I get a D6 plus 1. Not as... Yeah, I think I will do... And his defense, or his DS is 10. So I guess that's the trick here. I think what I'll do, since his DS is 10, it will be easier for me to land a lightning strike because I don't think I need to go against his DS, his difficulty score. I just need to have the spell go off. So let's try that. I'm going to try a lightning strike. So I'm going to roll a 2d6 plus 2, and I need to get an 8 or above. So let's try that. So I'm going to roll my 2d6, and then I'm going to add 1, 2. So I need to get an 8 or above, and I already have my. So yes, I got a 10. So 8 plus 2, so I got a 10. So then what I need to do is I get to roll damage of d6 plus 2. So let's do a d6 plus 2. And we'll go 1, 2. Oh my God. Okay, should I? That would do 3 damage. I know this is early in the game, but because I want to get this ogre down, I might. So that would be 3. I could force a morale test. If I just I don't need to use my fate to re-roll it, but if I use a spirit, I could take my spirit down to 2 and could add plus 1 to that roll. And by doing that, that would do 4 points of damage to him, taking him down to a 3. And I'm going to do that. So I'm going to take him down to a 3. Let me make sure I put that down so you don't keep seeing it. So I put that down to a 3. So this is at the end of the round. Let me see what it says. When the enemy reaches half, the players roll a morale test. It doesn't say when. I think, honestly, I would think it's morale. It's before he attacks, right? Like, does he flee? So let's roll for 2d6. So it's a straight up 2d6, and his morale is 8, as you see over here. So I need to get an 8 or above, I think. Equal to the morale, greater than or equal to the morale, the enemy flees. All right, let's just straight up roll that, I think. Oh my God, 7. Oh. And I don't think for magic, I mean, he has a defense of 6, but I'm going to read the magic and make sure. I don't think he can use his defense. You know what? Before I forget, I want to open my character sheet and make sure I track like, so max spell use is 4, and I'm going to say now that's 3. Okay. Let's see. What does it say about magic? Oh, and I forgot. I always forget. If you roll max damage on a die, it explodes and you get to roll again. But I'm trying to read. I don't think the creature is going to be able to use. It doesn't. I don't see that you can use the defense. I'm reading the combat rules a little bit again. The player rolls damage die for the weapon, adds any bonuses. The enemy rolls defense die and reduces the damage. So if the player, but that says for weapon damage. So I'm pretty sure for a spell, I don't think they'd be able to use their. I don't think they'd be able to overcome that. I'm just going to see if there's anything else in the magic section. Yeah, all it says is, well, player resolves the effect as written. It doesn't say anything about reducing the damage. So I think I did it right, and that's another reason why it's probably good that I used the lightning, although it did count as one of my spells. But all right, so that's that. Now he doesn't get to attack per se. If the attack misses, the enemy rolls their damage die, and I think that would be the same if I did that for a spell. So if my spell refuses to go off, I think it basically gives him a free attack. At least I think that's how it works. All right, so let's go into round 2. He's down to 3 HP. I still have my full HP of, I think, 10. So let's just try to do a straight up attack. So straight up attack, I'll be doing my combat skill. I've got a 4, so I'll be able to roll 2d6 plus 4, and I'm trying to overcome his DS of 10. So am I missing anything else? I've already got my modifier in there, DS plus 2d6 plus 4, and then he will get to roll a defense. So let's see. We'll do the DX plus 3 plus 1 is 4, and I'm trying to overcome or get to equal to or more than a 10. Yes, 14. 14. So again, if I look at my bow, I do a d6 plus 1. I think that's straight up. So let's do a d6 plus 1. D6 plus 1. So that's max damage. So I get to roll again. So that's a 7 damage. But because I rolled a 6, I can roll that again. It's exploding. Sorry, I got too excited there. I rolled a d10. That does not count. D6, come on. 3. So that 7 plus 3 is 10. So I exploded to a 10, but his defense is 6. So he gets to roll. So it's 10 minus whatever I roll for his d6. Is that right? T a d6? I think that's what I saw. Just want to look up the being table again. Yep, his defense is d6. So let's roll a d6. So right now I'll do 10 damage. 10 less 2 is 8. He is defeated. So the ogre is defeated. So now let's look. I'm going to look in the rule book now with you. So that's awesome. First combat is defeated. So let's see what it says if I win. Combat success. So down here about middle way, and let's get rid of the sheet. It's a little busy right now. All right. Roll a d6 to see what is found. 1 to 3. So this is where, again, you can start getting your tracks. Remember, I need 6 tracks. So 1 to 3, I get a track. 4 to 5 is a thing, so like an item, an object. 6 is a track and a thing. Let's do that. Roll a d6. So that's a track. That's good. So I found one of my tracks. So again, the goal is to get to 6 tracks, and then your quest is completed. So so if you really want to journal or do something, you could start, saying, hey, I look at my My quest, delivering a package to the one true heir. So maybe like it's a 10-mile track, or maybe I say it's a 6-mile track. Oh, that's where I knew I had already done this. Okay. Say it's I think that was, say it's a 6-mile track and I just completed a mile or something like that. You can embellish this a bit if you want to make it a little more interesting and a more fully fleshed out world. All right, so I do that. So now, so we finished the combat, but remember, now we need to go back and we need to look at the event. And I haven't determined the difficulty score for the event. So we roll a d6 for that. I rolled a 4. So the event has an unexpected obstacle. So as I'm heading to my location, I took care of this ogre that was in the road, but then maybe there's some kind of trap or something in the middle of the road that I have to clear an obstacle. So this means it's a DS12 since I rolled a 4. So I need to overcome a DS12. And if I don't, I still am able to overcome the obstacle, but I will take 2 damage. Okay. So let us roll our 2d6. And I'm going to pull up my wits again so I remember. My wits score is 4. So I get to do 2d6 plus 4. So there's a plus 4. And then I need to overcome equal to or greater than DS12. I did not. So I got an 11. So 7 plus 4 is 11. But now do I need to, I can either add a plus 1. And I don't know at the end of this if I already used one of my wits, or sorry, one of my, what are they called? Spirits. I don't think I want to do that. I think I'll just take the 2 damage because I didn't get damaged in the ogre battle and I still get to move forward. Character is never stuck in an event. Let's see. Because I don't think there's anything mechanically you get to do. If the total is at or above, the event is a success, the event is completed. If the total is less, the player fails, takes damage, that's fine. Turns sideways, the player moves forward. Yeah, so I don't think there's really much else I would get anyway, so let's do that. We're going to say the event is resolved, so we're going to turn that sideways. And so, again, maybe I got really tired clearing debris in the road or whatever mechanically you want to say happened. But let's open my character sheet and we will take off 2 HP. I'll just have to know that I was at 10 total, so we'll go down to 8. And I don't have a modifier. I guess I did. That was part of my elf background, I think, but now I'm down to 10. So, and what is my, let's see, I think you can eat your rations anytime. And I've got 3, I think. So you can recover D6 plus 1. I'm not going to worry about that yet. So then we have to look at the location. So I'm going to get rid of both of these cards, I think. I don't think I need those. We'll open location. 3 of hearts. So let's look at this. Wrong one. Let's look at the location for 3 of hearts. So again, I created these little icons to make it easier. I got a 3. So Creekside Farms. So I found some Creekside Farm. And it says, let's read this. The result will set the scene with a landmark in the Shrouded Realm. Some locations will list a being or a thing. Doesn't look like that many. There's a couple of good ones here. That's fine. Draw a card and compare the suit and value of the card to the being in the things table. Don't need to do that. If the location does not have a being or a thing listed, roll a d6 and compare the results. 1 to 3, I gain 2 tracks. 4 to 5, I have to draw a being. And 5, or actually it should be a 6, draw 1 thing and gain 1 track. So let's do that and see what happens here. A 5. So that is draw 1 being. And I think when it says 1 being, yeah, draw 1 being, then I believe I draw a card. And if it's red suit, then I'll be at the top half of this table. Well, that says evil. So now I'll have to evil, good. So how do I determine if it's evil or good? Let me read this again. because it doesn't necessarily say the being is evil, I don't think. Draw a card and compare the suit and value of the card to the correct table with beings on page 46. Look at that again. Well, it says page 46, so by definition, I guess that means it's evil. I know there's some chances that you could have a good being at some point, but that, because it tells me specifically on the boundary here, it tells me, where did I see that? Yeah, it just says compare the suit and value to the correct table with beings on page 46. Page 47 is good being tables. 46 is evil. So we're going to go to the beings table evil. This is page 46. You can see down here. So I will roll that, and we are, or not roll that. I am going to pull a card. So 10 of clubs. So 10 of clubs means I'm on the bottom half of this table and I'm fighting a shadow beast. So let's get that set up. Shadow beast. And I am going to come down here and find a shadow beast. And it is a DS10 still. It is HP of 8. And attack is a D6. Defense, a D12. Wow, that's rough. Morale is 12. That's really hard. And his HP is an 8. So max HP is, or half of HP is 4. I feel like my lightning here, I mean, defensive 12. So I have to really think about this. Like, if my attack, so let's just pull that up real quick. If my attack with a bow, and I like how this kind of signifies, or it helps. Let's get rid of the, there we go. So I think it's basically a shadow is ethereal, right? Incorporeal. So, I mean, I think it's kind of showing you what would happen if you're trying to use a bow against it. It's not going to be very effective. So, I mean, I do have a D6 plus 1 damage, but he's going to be rolling a D12 to reduce that. So unless I'm using like my fate or additional damage, or I get lucky and I get an exploding die, it's going to be really hard to hurt him. My lightning strike would do a D6 plus 2. So it's possible if I roll max damage on a lightning strike and take this thing out. I've already used one of my 4 spells. So I've got 3 left. Maybe I'll try that once, and if that doesn't work, or if I'm not really hurt him, I'll flee. Because the chances of him failing a morale test are virtually none. Like, I have to roll 2d6 and get max damage. So, do I even want to do that? I mean, you do get something for defeating enemies. Yeah, combat. So I think I would get something for defeating the enemy, and would I also get? Good question. Maybe that's all I get. Defeat. Kind of looking at what would happen. Locations. Yeah, you draw a being. So I think basically, if I succeed, I can either get a track, a thing, or 1 track and 1 thing. And if not, no rewards are given for defeat, or if you flee combat. So, all right, I'm going to try one. This might be stupid, but I'm going to get rid of my. So I'm going to say I have 2 spells left. And again, I have to overcome a DS8, so equal to or greater than 8. I could do the bark skin for defense, right? But I wonder how that works. Like, because all it says, if a player's attack misses in combat, so I guess I would rule if I did bark skin, I think he would get a free attack against me. I don't know the rule. but we'll do lightning strike. So we'll have to do a DS8. So let me get my 2d6 together, and my magic is 2. So I will add 2, and I'm trying to get an 8. So I need a 6 on screen. Come on, Bolton. Come on. 8. Okay, awesome. 6. That's a 10. So now I do a d6 plus 2 damage. Oh man, am I hoping that I get max damage here? Come on. 4. So I immediately get 4. And is there a plus 2? Oh, plus 2 is 6. So I immediately do damage, get him down to 2, and he does a morale test. But I think the morale test is straight up like I need 12. And I would get full success if that happens. Why did that not roll? 7. Oh, rolled twice. I don't know why it was stuck, but anyway, it did not exceed the morale test. So, but I think because I succeeded, he doesn't get to attack. Oh shoot, I should have done initiative, shouldn't I? I should have done initiative. Let's go ahead and roll that. Go ahead and roll that. 6. Okay. So I catch the enemy by surprise and get a free attack. So I'm going to say that lightning strike is my free attack. So a free attack, let's see, performed by an enemy means they deal damage equal to their damage dice. A free attack performed by a player means the player performs an attack with advantage, a weapon or magic roll. So with advantage would mean the player rolls 2d6 for a total and then chooses to re-roll any number of results. So in that case, that's awesome. I love that. So I went ahead and got the free attack, and we're going to say mechanically that I didn't need to use, let's see, let's get these off the screen. So so everything worked out as it should have. So I think I'm going to try to do one more lightning strike. I just don't think I'm going to be able to do much with this guy. I know I'm using my spells a lot, but I'm facing some pretty brutal creatures. So it's second round, or actually the first full round of combat now. So I'm going to do this again, plus 2. I really need a 6. And if I get a 6, that's plus 2 is 8, DS8. That'd be in good shape. 7, Ooh, 9, just did it. All right, so let's do this. So I need a D6 for my spell roll. This again. Oh, plus 2. That's right, plus 2. So let's roll. 2 plus 2 is 4. He had 2 hit points of damage left. Sorry, I realized I excited and took down the whole table. But so I defeated him. I'm using a lot of my resources, which may not be good, but now I think I've used, that was my 3rd lightning spell. So I have 1 spell left to use. But I did defeat him, so I can roll on the combat success, which is a D6. And 1 to 3, it's a track. 4 to 5, a thing. No. I need to go back. Oh, yeah, that's right. And 6 is a track and a thing. So let's see what I roll. All right. So I get a track. So now I've found 2 of my tracks. And if I can also do this on my character sheet if I want. Tracks. I found 2. And then I found a thing. So let's open the table for things. And I will draw a card. So let's just draw a card. 6 of hearts. And why isn't things... Okay, there's a spade. I just didn't put the spade and the clubs down there. Good to know. I need to do that. All right. So Jack of Hearts. So, Spring Song's bow. As an elf, that is awesome. So that's a weapon. So I'd want to swap it out with my weapon. Plus 2 combat skill, D8 plus 1 damage. That is amazing. So let's do this. We're going to swap the weapon. So currently my hunting bow is a D6. The only reason I get plus 1 is my ranged attack plus 1 damage. All right, so let's get rid of this. And let's get rid of this. And we're going to say brings song bow. And that's a weapon again, and that's 2 combat skills. So I wasn't getting a plus to my combat skill from my weapon. So this will go up to 6. Now my modifier is 3. And I'm just going to note down here, brings song bow plus 2 combat skill. D6, no, the 8 plus 1 damage. I just don't want to forget that in case I lose that. So I did that up here and I signified that. And then this is a D8 plus 1. Oh, shoot, I didn't do this right. I'm going to have to, let's do this before I forget. So this, sorry for this real quick, but I want to make sure that I have the range. And that should be, I'm just going to say that 12. That should work. And if I do that, prettier, and let's go back to the hand. And that should be a D8. Awesome. Plus 1 damage. Wow, that is amazing. So, and I already did the track. So let's save this. So I'm just under an hour in, and we were able to see, we did the event. We didn't overcome the event, but we have gotten to go back to our main table. And I turn that on for you. So we've gotten 2 out of the 6 tracks. We've we defeated a couple of combats. I've used a lot of my spells, but I think that's pretty cool. I'm going to clean up the table here. We resolve the location. So now we'd be starting a new turn. We'd roll an event in a location, or I should say draw an event and location. I'm going to leave those up there for next time. And I think we leave this all as is. Let's kind of reset this, put that to none, put that to 0, 0, just so this is kind of all ready for the next time. And yeah, let me know what you think. Drop a like, drop a comment. Let me know if you want to see a second playthrough of this. So I'm definitely going to keep playing, but let me know if it was compelling enough that you'd like to see session 2 of Elwyn in the Shadowed Realm. But I really enjoyed that. So again, drop a like, drop a comment, ask me any questions about the game. And as a reminder, it is available currently, open that up, currently on itch.io in the solo but not alone. You can see I've asked a lot of questions here already. So it's $9.99, but the solo but for not alone is still on for another 2 days, and you get all of these awesome titles for $10. And I'm still going through them. So that's it. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. And if you want that playingcards.io table, feel free to grab it from the link in the description. Till next time, all, happy gaming.